Hi there, I'm Yasmina, the low histamine chef. This is a really quick primer on what I call the anti-diet, which is basically an antihistamine and anti-inflammatory approach to healing. As the name suggests, it's not actually a diet, it's a way of life. Myself and thousands of others realized that the low histamine approach to healing inflammation wasn't working for us. I mean, shock, horror, eliminating nutrients wasn't going to heal us. What were we thinking in the first place? Wait, I know, we were given a list of foods to avoid, but where was the list of foods to eat? The healing foods. Why does nobody give one of those out? Well, I do. They're right here. My anti-diet is high in the nutrients that have been proven to stabilize mast cells, work as antihistamines, and as anti-inflammatories. These foods are high in the bioflavonoids quercetin, rutin, and luteolin. Now, here's the tricky part. So the standard low histamine diet might tell us that dairy, wheat, and sugar are fine for us. But let's look at what these foods have in common. At least on the surface, they're inflammatory, and they're not particularly high in nutrients. Now, let's look at some foods that are high in nutrients, healing nutrients, but may appear on some lists as high histamine. Things like mushrooms. Why eliminate mushrooms? My point exactly. I do not eliminate mushrooms, and I encourage people to test foods, and if you're okay with them, go with them if they're healing foods. Now, with that in mind, let's say you're okay with chips. I do not believe chips to be a healing food. They've been sitting around in a packet, they've been highly processed, and they're generally quite devoid of nutrients. So while this may technically be low histamine, it's not a part of my healing plan. What is on my healing plan that might surprise people is something like yellow tomatoes. These little beauties, according to researcher Dr. Janice Jonija, are lower in histamine than the red variety. So I choose to accept the nutrients that this tomato bestows and accept that it's likely to heal me. And actually, while I have you here, let me have a really quick word with you about food lists. Please don't follow those things blindly. The research behind those is based on studies that may be out of date, that don't take into account individual physiology, the fact that there may have been some kind of bacterial contamination, whether there has been any kind of pesticide exposure. There are just so many factors in these food lists that we really can't take them as gospel. Olive oil. How many of you out there have been told that olive oil is the devil? I mean, really, I was terrified of olive oil. I was convinced it was giving me a rash. Turns out that olive oil actually boosts the diamine oxidase, the DAO enzyme that's responsible, at least partially, for degrading histamine. It also helps prevent osteoporosis. Pomegranates. Doesn't this just look like jewelry to you? I mean, I would wear this as a necklace if I could. This is such an incredible healing fruit. Not only has it been shown to prevent heart attacks and cancer, it actually works as a mast cell stabilizer, preventing the mast cells from leaking histamine and other inflammation into the body. And that's another point. Inflammation generally is often our problem, not just histamine. And how about those Nigella sativa seeds? As an H1 receptor antagonist working on the histamine 1 receptor, they are as powerful as the most commonly prescribed steroid nasal spray. Something to consider next time you're feeling a little sniffly. They also work as an H2 receptor antagonist, which means they're good for the tummy. But it's not all about the green stuff. I mean, it's a lot about the green stuff, but it's about the fun stuff too. I mean, I'm human. I like cookies. I like a lot of cookies. I'm not gonna lie to you. I need to enjoy my food. I tell people happiness is the best antihistamine. And if it makes you happy to eat that high nutrient coconut flour and date cookie, you go for it. You don't worry about it, you enjoy it, and then you have yourself a nice big green juice. And that, in a non-allergenic nutshell, is what the anti-diet is all about. That's all from me for now. But for more information and for ebooks and lots of recipes, join me at thelowhistaminechef.com. I'm also on Facebook, facebook.com/The Low Histamine Chef, and Twitter and Instagram as Histamine Chef. That's it for now. My parting thought for you, please remember, eliminating foods doesn't heal. Nutrition does. I'm Yasmina Eglenstam, the Low Histamine Chef.